once a week, I had the privilege of studying together with Mr. Zev Wolfson in his office. Mr. Wolfson was a man, a very successful businessman, billionaire, but more importantly, he was an incredible philanthropist. He gave his time, he gave his money, he gave his efforts and his voice to Jewish causes in absolutely incredible ways. He supported Jewish education in France. He supported Jewish education in South America. He supported Jewish education in Israel. He built campuses. He financed programs. He was on the phone to chief rabbis and to politicians. He helped Israel with getting its Patriot missiles. He helped with a lot of defense projects. He lobbied in the American government. Absolutely incredible. One of the most interesting things in his office, amongst many fascinating things in the office, pictures with presidents, miniature airplanes, etc. But one of them was this little poster that said, "You are never so tall as when you stoop down to pick up a child." And very true, never so tall as when you stoop down to pick up a child. When a person does an act of kindness, when a person extends himself to give to someone else, that's when the person is elevated. And that, I think, is the meaning of the word at the beginning of this week's Torah portion. It is called Terumah, Truma. V'yikchu li Truma, you shall take for me a donation from every person whose heart volunteers them to give that. The word Truma, donation, is also related to the root of the word Terumah is laharim, is to raise, which means that when you give a donation, when you give kindness, when you give charity, when you give of yourself, you are elevated by that. So Terumah is not just giving, it is actually also being elevated. And that's, I think, was the message of the little poster in his office. That was the message of his life. And I think that's one of the messages of this week's Parsha, which is, V'yikchu li Terumah, take from each person that thing which will elevate that person. Because the truth is, the person who benefits most from giving is not the one who receives, but it's actually the one who gives. The one who gives is elevated by the experience. The one who gives feels gratitude and grateful for that which God has given him or her. The person who gives is happier. The person who gives has expressed something very deep in the human soul, because the physical only wants to take. We are selfish genes from the physical perspective. All we want to do is propagate our own genes. Anything which goes against that trend, anything which is altruistic, which is kind, which is giving, even when we get no benefit from it, is something which comes from the soul, something which comes from the spirituality. So a Terumah is not only a donation, it is also something which elevates the person, and it's also something which indicates that the person has something elevated within. There is a ram, meaning ram from the expression laharim, is something exalted within the human being, and that which is exalted in the human being is that desire to give. And of course, when you do give, you elevate yourself even more, and that is, I think, the meaning of Terumah. You are never so tall as when you bend down to give. Have a wonderful Shabbos. This is Mordechai Becher with the Gateways Parsha Vlog.